Premiership is back, folks, for the 2022-2023 season. We're going to go through some power rankings to try and track the teams throughout the season to see who's in good form and who is struggling. Unlike last year where we kind of started with a clean slate, we're going to carry over some data from last year's season. So not much, but just to give teams a little bit of a leg up or potentially a lead to catch up on. For example, Leicester, champions, lost their first games. I'm not going to put them in the bottom row for having a 0% win rate because they were pretty good last year, just quietly. But yeah, still early days in the season. Kind of hard to read too much into things, but we'll go through them. You guys let me know your thoughts on who's too high, who's too low. And yeah, we'll go from there. Worcester, I mean, honestly, they got hammered by London Irish, but at least they played. They've had financial woes. There was question marks about whether they'd be able to start the season. They did. They played, hammered London Irish. Like I said, they're home to Exeter next week, so not going to be easy, seeing as Exeter just beat the reigning champions. But hey, Worcester played a game, so we'll take that. Small victories. Bath, pretty horrendous last season. New coach. Lost. I was going to watch that game, but with the Queen's passing, they moved it to a time which meant it wasn't televised here. But 2-point loss away to Bristol. You don't want to lose to your rivals, but 2-point loss could be worse. So losing bonus point. Take that. And Newcastle. These three teams, kind of plus Bristol, were a lot of the time in the bottom row last season. Newcastle, they scored 31 points, which on a lot of games would be enough to win. But when you concede 40, you're going to lose most of them. So that's what happened to them against Quins. Away to Leicester as well. So it doesn't get any easier for the Falcons boys, but that's the way they start their season. No losing bonus point, unfortunately, for them. And Wasps. Wasps, I don't know if it's a tough one. They've also got a bit of a financial cloud, I think, hanging over them as well. They have been seeing the odd article about what's going on with their club. They lost to Gloucester 27-21. That certainly could have been worse. They had a lead, didn't they? And then Gloucester just kind of managed to tear it back from them. So I haven't seen that game, but yeah, they're down in 10th spot. Are the Wasps boys home to Bristol next? So maybe that's a chance to bounce back because Bristol was super inconsistent last season. Northampton, who made the playoffs last year, have got down here in the bottom half, which is maybe a little bit unfair, but they didn't exactly set the world alight at the end of the last season. And 29-22 to Sale. I mean, it's not tragic. It's a losing bonus point, but there's nothing too much to shout about after one round for them. It's another game that I haven't seen, but I'll have to go back and catch up on what I can when I can. But there you go. Bristol is the first winning side I've got on the board. I've got them a little bit low because of last year, because they really, really struggled. They would get a win, and you would think they're going to come back, and then they would just go on a terrible losing run. So not putting too much faith in them just yet, but it's a win over Bath, who were bad last year. So again, keep it kind of tempered, but there you go. Bristol are in 8th. Disrupted start to the game, but it was played and they did win it. So there you go. And then Saracens, who probably should be in like 2nd based on what we see, but with the bye, I've kind of got them in the middle of the pack. Obviously beaten finalists last year, so we expect them to be in the top row. Pretty quick smart, but they had the bye in the first round, so we'll see how they go once they actually get to play. But they start with Quins, I think, away, so not easy. Leicester in 6th, despite their loss, as I said, giving them a bit of credit from last season. Remember, some players coming and going, some guys not quite available yet. They almost won. They almost beat the Chiefs. A lot of kicking in that game. A lot of kicking. Like, I don't mind kicking, but that was a lot of kicking. I mean, yeah. A lot of kicking, 100 plus kicks. We don't usually see that much. I don't mind it, honestly. I feel like I'm lying to myself, but I'm genuinely not lying because you can kind of see. It's like watching tennis. I know in the Northern Hemisphere you guys call it kick tennis. We call it force back here in New Zealand. We're trying to force the other team back. It's essentially what you're trying to do. It's like watching a long tennis rally where one person is kind of pushing the other one to the side until they can just land that killer blow. And that's what that game was. So it was different. A lot of kicking. But yeah, really grandstanding finishing for the Tigers boys. Just couldn't quite hold on. Sale here in 5th, another team that was very Jekyll and Hyde last year. Had obviously some player movements with some kind of long-term guys leaving the club after last season. Decent win over Northampton, so 1-0 to start their season, and then Bath next. So they'll be looking to go 2-0 and push for the playoffs this year. And then London Irish, not quite in the top row, but a really good start. Hammered Worcester, like you should expect them to do. Worcester with all their woes going on. Disrupted pre-season. London Irish at home, scoring, 45 points, a bunch of really nice tries. So, Yeah, good start to their season. They were pretty decent value last year, I thought. And then top row, Gloucester here in third. Their season had that really great run and then just kind of went to custard, but good start. Not that convincing over Wasps, and they're not helped with the bye next week, but certainly 1-0 is the perfect way to start the season. Still haven't updated their logo, but I will. Exeter beat the reigning champions at Sandy Park with that last-minute play. People mentioned to me that their fitness pre-season training stuff's pretty intense, so that kind of showed good commitment for the cause. So they came close, like they had 3 tries held up. But yeah, they managed to get it done on the kind of 4th attempt. So well done to the Chiefs. They've got Worcester away, so they'll be looking to go 2-0. And then I got Quins, who are wearing their gear today because they are the first team on the power rankings to have first spot for the new season. 40 points against Newcastle, one of the few kind of away wins this week, even if it was above a club which finished at the wrong end of the table last season. But yeah, home to Saracens next, so back home, but against what will be a pretty tough opponent. But yeah, we've still got a bunch of international players to come back, a bunch of injured players to come back, but the season is underway, so happy days. You guys let me know your thoughts. If you're ranking them, who do you put where? Who is too high? Who is too low? Who do you think is going to disappoint? And who do you think is going to maybe be a bit of a dark horse? You guys let me know your thoughts. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.